Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening to everyone, whoever is watching us today. Today, I'm here once again with yet another episode of Technovation with Ahmed Javed. As you all know, that my name is Ahmed Javed, and I'm the host of this series, which has been hosted primarily on the CXO Global Forum, as always. So today, as a usual practice, we brought one more very interesting topic for us today, which is to discuss the AI adoption strategies, the policy making around that. What about the responsible AI, the buzzwords, AI governance, and all that. So a lot we will discuss about these things today. Today we have a very special guest with us today, Mr. Ghulam Shabbir Sahab, who is primarily a public policy making expert and govern and he has a diverse and very wide experience on governance reforms as well. So may I kindly request Ghulam Sahab to introduce yourself. I think it would be a good idea to have a introduction from your kind self.
Yeah, thank you so very much, Ahmed Saab, for actually setting it up, this dedicated session on a fireside chat for the topic of AI. So, as for my humble introduction is concerned, it has been quite 24 years altogether in the field of practice, although I call it basically a learning track. So, it's been 24 years altogether. And my area of learning and practice is primarily focused on public policy design, public policy analysis, governance reforms, and organizational transformation, particularly from the viewpoint of technology adoption, technology led governance reforms, technology driven change, and technology driven transformation. So that's how it has been. So, since technology keeps on evolving and changing, therefore, the learning journey is still on the go, it's still on the move. And that's what I do, and that's what I enjoy. Thank you so much.
Very interesting, sir. I mean, it is indeed quite a diverse experience, and on the which is spread all over more than a couple of decade and a half. So today, as title says, like when it's a fireside chat, and we're gonna learn a lot about the technology adoption strategies and what are your advices on to the technology leaders in order to consider the factors while selecting the right technology for their with respect to their needs and all that. So let's start from the very common buzzwords today these days. Everyone, as you know, that is talking about AI. So let's define from a very basic things. What's your view about what is AI and what people or normal layman should understand about it?
Yeah, so I mean, we the world has yet to see the definition of AI actually, but coming from different perspectives, it is basically the ability of the machines around us to take human-like activities or to carry out human-like activities. Now, these human-like activities can be very, very simple activities, day-to-day activities, like, for example, suggesting to write an email better or finding some specific references within the area of your study, for example, and then it also extends to a bit higher level where we see the use of AI in some sophisticated and high-end activities and technology intensive utilities, for example, taking non-programmable as well as programmable decisions, sensing on the basis of the data, creating various scenarios, or taking decisions, or helping or augmenting human imagination as well as human creativity to take certain decisions which can actually inculcate more of the value, which can actually inculcate more of the effectiveness and efficiency across the activities which are being undertaken on the ground. But yeah, I mean, I have been reading it across, and this AI has whatever the definition we have today, but still, this has a lot of potential, and the technology or the mechanisms associated with the technology are not going to stop themselves. And there was a term used by one of the very good author. I'm unfortunately not recalling the name of that author, but he said that there will be a level where we will be interacting. I mean, and we as human beings would be interacting with the god-like AI, for example. So on the basis of the data proliferation, on the basis of the ever increasing computational power, and the advent of quantum computing altogether, quantum computing coming into play, and the use of quantum computing becoming, very logical, as well as very economical for the individuals as well as for the organizations, then there is certainly a level where a lot of things or a lot of activities will be actually undertaken by AI. So this also takes us to a very interesting territory, that what will then be defining us as humans, because you see, we are the most superior race of all the creators, created on this earth by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So this is something which is very interesting. All the humanity is actually in very interesting times, but it is also, packing up the humanity with a lot of risks and with a lot of prudence as well. So that's what I think about AI.
No, quite interesting, and unbelievably shocking as well. I mean, if I consider myself, like, thinking about, that imagining some few things around the globe, around the universe, as you mentioned about the human creativity as well will be challenged through the AI. So how do you see, like, the coming years, the very near future, how the AI evolution gonna start impacting the humanity? I mean, I heard a lot about, the AI gonna replace the jobs, and the lot of, or most of the workforce will lose their jobs, and it has been presented as a threat to the humanity, and so forth. How do you see the evolving landscape around it?
So this is a very important question, and I think that in the recent history, it is one of the questions which requires most of the attention, and which requires most elegant of the wisdom that is actually possessed by various luminaries, thought leaders, researchers, educationists, practitioners from all across the industries. So this is really very important question. Now, in the near future, I don't see that it is going to be a massive job loss to the humanity. However, what I see is a lot of value creation, a lot of value augmentation, and a lot of human and machine effort pooling and effort augmentation. And it is going to trickle many benefits in many countries, especially the low income countries as well as the low middle income countries, provided right policy choices and right governance structures are actually introduced, and access to this AI technology is actually given to those countries on an equitable or as well as just basis, actually, right? So that is a point where I see that it has a lot of potential to serve the population which is poor, for example, which is not able to attain basic necessities of life. So, for example, if we talk of a country like Pakistan, so here we are struggling with education of, around they say that it is like 2.7 no sorry 26 to 27 million children, they are actually out of school, right now. Why they are out of school? Because we don't have the educational facilities for those children, alongside other factors as well. So this AI can help us introduce educational facilities, or this AI can help us provide education to those children which are not actually in the regular schooling stream within our country. So this is just one example, and we have a lot of usages across the socio-economic sectors for all these, low as well as middle income countries. So
And
this is one area, and this is what,
definitely, yeah, yeah,
yeah,
sure.
yeah, this is, and this I see in the very very near term, say for example from 4, 5 to 7 years down the road. However, as and when the AI sophistication will gain a level of maturity, and that level of maturity will be sort of all, encompassing, and it will be, there will be a lot of convergence from the various factors that will actually contribute to this maturity, right away from the AI governance to the data governance, and from the data governance to the overall vision, as well as the overall thrust of the organizations as well as the businesses across, to use these mechanisms to build more sophisticated models, to improve upon their working, and to improve upon their value and service delivery. So there is a point where I think that the soft side of AI, I mean, that is related to the data and the governance and all these infrastructures, and the hard components, that is basically the operations technology, for example, infusion of AI with robotics, infusion of AI into manufacturing, and machines being even more intelligent, acquiring more intelligence. Already we are passing through industry 4.0, and now we are leading towards society 5.0. So in the longer run, what I see is that yes, certainly there is going to be a job loss to the humanity, and the creativity, the control, the compliance, the legislative, infrastructures, as well as the governance and the ethical utilization, astute political utilization of AI, then these are basically the areas which are actually going to help us sustain as a humanity. And if you recall, there is actually yet again another viewpoint from Elon Musk, and he was speaking very, very recently in one of the conferences in MENA region, where he floated the concept of a universal basic income. And behind this concept, he spoke about the value of AI and the value of technological convergence. And he built this concept on the premise that unfortunately a lot of jobs will be taken away from the human beings, and there will be it will be very difficult for us as humans to associate meanings to our lives, because we most of the times we drive our meanings with the careers that we pursue, or the jobs that we undertake, or the jobs that we do actually, right? So that is how, on this premise, he has been, floating this concept of universal basic income. And by this concept, he meant to say that once the jobs will be lost, actually, based on the convergence of these technologies, including AI, then certainly at the global scale, there has to be a minimum basic income that has to be actually, transcended, or that has to be distributed amongst the humanity folk, so that they can take care of their living altogether. So that's how it is. And these are quite interesting times, however, full of challenge, as well as full of responsibility. That's what I maintain about it.
They, absolutely. I think when you have highlighted a very important aspect of like an universal income, and then in the start of your argument you mentioned about the godlike AI. Yes, definitely. As we all know that when as the rapid evolution of AI with the exponential pace even beyond of our imagination is started, it started impacting the humanity today. It's not coming. It's here. And from that perspective, there's a lot of predictions of like whatever been predicted to happen in 2030. It started. We start seeing it's happening now. That's why they not only the corporate leaders, I believe the government and the institutions as well needs to started considering these, the governance related policies of AI and technology adoption. From that perspective is they're started getting active. Being that said, like what I feel, please correct me if I'm wrong, is that the still the worry within the normal workforce that one day the AI will take their jobs. I think that worry is generally the public is too late for that because AI is already here. It's been said like if the AI will not take your job, but someone who knows the AI will take it definitely. So it's more about like development, putting the efforts in gaining the right knowledge and getting into the race of like the AI to using the tools, getting hands-on knowledge and experience, which basically helps leveraging the tools within the work frame we are in. Every corporate role has some applications on that. So yes, you have highlighted many or several right use cases, but what I felt is that when you have been very positive around the AI evolution effort, but considering that thing like there are dark side of it as well. So let's talk about some of the dark side as well. That when if imagine that the AI technologies, if that goes in the wrong hands, such as drones, such as such robots which have been used in the military to vanish the whole, the whole cities or destroy the countries. How you see like this thing happening, and are there any international forums where this has been discussed? Whether it's been picked up, by the international peacemaker making institutions or no? What's your take on this?
Yeah, Ahmed, this is certainly very, very important area altogether. And before I actually, venture into the conversation related to specifically related to the dark side that you have just labeled, uh, I mean, you see, before that even dark side, actually, there is a humongous impact of AI into the matters of our daily interaction. So say for example education, right? So we'll just spend a couple of minutes on this and then I'll move down to the specific area that you have just highlighted, right?
Sure.
So you see, I mean, education, I believe, and most of educationists have been thinking this way, that doctoral studies or postdoctoral studies have been actually epic of an educationist or a thinker or a thought leader or a thought maker who has actually contributed a lot to the humanity, right? But you see, at this, we have come up to a point where we are at the verge of demeaning this PhD or postdocs. Why? Because a lot of synthesis can actually be done by various versions of ChatGPT that are available to us. You see, I mean, it gives you a plethora of all the data or all the connecting theories and epistemes which are associated with one subject under consideration. And the beauty is that it actually takes you towards the synthesis as well. So then you see, what is it left for the human brain or the human mind? It is basically synthesizing even at the more high level where the machine cannot reach at this moment, right? And then backtracking it and taking again the help of the machine to actually do some data work and help the humans or help the human thinking argument or correlate this data bank, and then are I helping humanity or helping human minds arriving at a conclusion and generating that fresh piece of knowledge. And that fresh piece of knowledge yet again is going to become part of the AI engines altogether, right? So for most sacred of the activities like education, like health, this AI is already making a lot of strides, and we need to rethink of the educational models. We need to now rethink of our health models. We need to rethink of our models of creativity, for example. You see, I mean, Mercedes has been very, very, successful in bringing out most aesthetic looks based on the work of the creative artists, right? So the S class, it actually starts with the imagination of the creative artist. So there's a pencil sketch that is actually produced first and the foremost in order to build that machine altogether, right? Now we have so many creative artists actually, and the beauty is that I mean, you can handle your color collage, you can handle the shapes, you can handle various tones and things like that actually. So we are already at a point where we need to think of remodeling our education, not for our children of this current generation, but also of those thought leaders who are actually aspirants of PhD or postdoctorate like education here, right? So this is one aspect. Now, coming to the dark side or coming to the nasty side of this AI, then certainly we have seen in the very recent past that yes, there have been automated UAVs, there have been automated drones. We are using them for surveillance. We are using them we can potentially use them for certain, warlike situations. We have seen that there is already a lot of political thought reconciliation related crisis in this world in the past in this decade actually, right? So unfortunately, if this AI is not handled responsibly, then certainly, I mean, from the fifth generation war to the war of intelligence, I mean, all the major economies, they are actually doing it, right? And in this particular aspect, Japan is acting very, very soberly and very sincerely alongside Europe, and they are actually discouraging in all their legislation as well as in all their strategies for AI the use of AI in the high risk systems. And the high risk systems are defined as those systems which can potentially lead to put in place a collateral damage to even a single human or even a group of people or even, I mean, a country or a community within a country, right? So for that actually Japan has been proposing the use of data exchange, where certain responsibility as well as ethics and transparent data sharing mechanisms can be introduced amongst various nations, which are actually at the helm of affairs of introducing and utilizing these kind of technologies and mechanisms, so that this menace of AI's dark side can be handled in a responsible way. So what I think of this is that it is going to generate actually an other level of prudence, care, and international, treaties and international cooperation agreements, the way they have been actually created for non-proliferation of the nuclear assets, for example. So we have seen in very recent past that there have been some non-proliferation nuclear treaty agreements. However, it went down into altogether a Cold War area where there has been a Cold War regime, and then various concepts of power and power corridor, power maintenance, power indulgence, and power exercise have actually emerged. So this is actually the way forward, and it is being taken up very, very seriously, especially in the two regions. One is Japan and the other one is European Union. But yes, the potentials and the pitfalls are really, really very high, and it can get us as humanity into the dark ages. I mean, just like that, you see. So that's how it is, as per my thoughts. Yeah.
No, thank you so very much for highlighting in a very detailed perspective or giving your view a detailed viewpoint. And definitely there are a lot of challenges which the decision makers needs to consider before considering the right selection or the selecting the right technology for their purpose, because there is always a negative side of it. Every new technology brings its own risks, and same though the AI as well. So being that said, now the primary challenge I think on the ground, which comes from your viewpoint, is that to assess the or in other words we can call it as the cost benefit analysis, to assess whether the benefit is more than the negative side of it or no. So being you know apply all the responsible strategies to adopt new technology, still that can be used in a wrong purpose, that or wrong intent, and so forth. So what's your take on that? I mean, because the responsible side of the AI is always generally being said is linked with some value system, the ethical part of it. What's your say on that?
Yeah, Ahmed, this is very important question, and I'm really glad that you have put in place this aspect of our today's conversation as well. You see, net being positive, net. I mean, adoption of AI has a lot of huge promises for people, for planet as well. And as I mentioned earlier, we can improve the state of poor, we can improve the state of prosperity and development in our world. We can help poor, we can help the disadvantageous segments of society to actually avail the opportunities at an equitable level. We can improve the condition of health around the planet. We can improve the condition of nutrition and food security around the planet. And one more thing, uh, climate related hazards and climate related challenges, which we are also facing very rapidly across almost every part of the world. Yes, this AI has a lot of promise to help us sail through some of these very pressing challenges altogether. And yet again, as we have said and maintained it very rightly, if we can hold up to the principle of ethical and responsible AI adoption and utilization, then certainly this technology has more promises for all of us than the perils that can be thought of. And this world, actually, the population has grown too much the last century. It has actually given us too much of awareness, too much of information, too much of the resource utilization, and it has opened up the thought process of humanity in many ways, and the development has actually seen many manifestations as well. So if we can keep using that track, we think that we are in very, very interesting and very, very productive times. We can improve upon the pace of development. We can improve upon the pace of resource utilization, ethical resource utilization, and we can also help ourselves handle in a very, very ethical and committed manner the environment and the climate that we are actually living in. So, yes, net net, it is all very positive. However, it depends that what kind of mechanisms and what kind of governance layer we actually introduce to make this power available to the use of the masses, especially in the disadvantaged parts of the world. So that's where I think it is the right most match for all of us actually, and it is
No,
it is win-win for every region of the world. It is a win-win altogether, because if the disadvantaged regions, if they'll prosper, if they'll flourish, then certainly there are going to be more reasons for already developed economies to actually think back and to actually uh, go up to the ladder of further levels of development. So it is a win-win for everybody across. That's what I think about it.
no, I definitely I agree to the greater extent, and if that exactly the if that happens the way as you are mentioning that all the parties, the related stakeholders, the communities, the geographies come united to implement and enforce the same mutually agreeable governance system. But the challenge remains the same, Ghulam Sahib. That is that governance policies will be based on some ethical values, right? So the ethical guidelines for each geography is considered to be different because that's linked with the cultural values, that's linked with the religious values, that's linked with their political ecosystem as well. Because like when we talk about the major new segregation of like global north and the global south, where we have a more workforce which is like a developing countries and top in the more developed countries, the the consideration of choosing a right and wrong is very different. The perspective is quite different. So the challenge remains the same, is that what sort of value system we should bring into the picture to develop our ethical guidelines where which is agreeable to everyone. All the parties should agree on that. So how you do you take that?
This is yet again a beautiful manifestation of the overall thought process.
Mhm.
So in the very recent past, actually, various forums and various organizations which are working on legislation or ethics related aspects of governance. So there is already a code of ethics that is actually introduced by so many variable organizations. However, If we look at those codes of ethics, and if we look at those, set of values which have the potential to unite all together the humanity under one umbrella of a thought that, okay, if we apply these set of values to our undertakings, be it a man to man undertaking, or a community to community undertaking, or a country to country, or a region to region undertaking, then the chances are that it will be to the liking of every party or every stakeholder involved. So there are a few commonalities, and the first and the foremost is justice, then it is respect, then it is equity, then it is respect, justice, and equity. And you see, so these are basically the values which are actually uh, most likely to be adapted by any country, any society, or any community altogether. I mean, if we also refer to the literature related to various institutions that have actually evolved across various, periods of glorious history of this mankind, then certainly, I mean, power is something for which the struggle has always been there, and it will last till the moment everything within this universe meets its destiny. But you see, uh, justifiable treatments, fairness, and equitable opportunities, and equity in the dealings. I mean, this is something which is likely to prevail the entire, humanity in these kind of challenges, and the entire humanity can actually draw a lot from these, values altogether. So, irrespective of the banner, irrespective of the power structure, so when it comes to interactions, then these values are considered as sort of universal values, right? And yet again, there are UNESCO's universal values for ethical use of AI, and those universal values are also based on the principles of, equity, transparency, respect, mutual respect, and equitable use, and equitable access to the resources, and equitable use of the resources as well. So I think these are the areas be which can be the uniting factors for various nations all across the globe. And one more thing that I just want to highlight here is, I mean, not from the perspective that you and I, we practice, Muslim or Islam as a religion, or we behold or uphold Muslim philosophy for undertaking our lives. But you see, mostly the values of Islamic society are those values which, once translated into their real letter and spirit, are the ones which have the promise of, inculcating joint benefits of honesty, integrity, respect, mutual respect, and inclusion, equity, for all the nations actually. So this is all what I have to say on this particular aspect.
They're very impressive, though. I mean, that's you have given a very holistic viewpoint in terms of the what religion as well plays an important role in establishing the value system of any geography. However, the fact remains the same that even if we consider only one geography or one religion, it's difficult to make everyone convinced with the same opinion or same value system, because we do have, like, within the Islamic world, we do have a lot of Muslims who, if not disagree, but deviate from the direct the common opinions as well. However, so coming back to the godlike AI, which you mentioned earlier. So as we all know that, there will be always AI, learning challenges and dealing with the different sort of biases as well, which we right now discussed, that it's gonna go on, and as until unless the whole world comes to the common point or agree on a one common order for the whole world, where a lot of groups have to compromise as well. How do you see that, the evolving challenge of AI singularity? Because one day AI will become mature enough to take over the I wouldn't say the takeover, but it's pretty harsh word though, but will become more intelligent than humans, and then will gain some additional capabilities or competencies which normal human beings or beyond of which are beyond of human beings. So how to tackle that situation?
Yeah, to be very honest with you, Ahmed, I'm actually studying this very aspect, and also trying to collect some wisdom from the community of practice, as well as from the community of academia as well. However, I can only share with you a very very premature thought on this particular aspect, and because you see, I have not been able to culminate my imagination altogether over this particular aspect, and I have not been able to gather very, like a sophisticated kind of an input on this particular aspect.
Not at all. I
However,
mean, that's everyone have a very flexible and
yeah, yeah,
specific and particular viewpoint. So
yeah,
we audience would like to know, like, your own viewpoint
yes,
from a governance expert perspective, because the way AI, as you said, like, the way AI has been defined is like a technologist will define its own way,
yeah.
the journalist will define its own way. So same the new evolving concepts as well, like singularity or godlike AI,
Yeah, exactly. So but you see, alongside sharing my opinion, I also wanted to be very very transparent and crystal clear as well. So the preliminary thought that I carry on this particular aspect is that yes, it is going to happen. It There is going to be a sheer convergence, certainly, because had it not been the challenge of convergence, then the ultimate emphasis on ethics and ethical adoption of AI would not have been there altogether within the policy as well as legislative circles, right? So yes, that is going to happen, and I think that at that particular moment, uh, human integrity and human imagination and human capability to socialize, right? So these are fundamentally the ingredients which will still prevail and which will still keep the humanity on the side of humanity, keep the humanity more united, more determined, and more a step ahead versus AI, because these are the elements which can actually be practiced by the convergence of AI related technologies. However, there's a little chance that these can be um practiced with the same level of precision right at the first time, versus human community, or versus the human fraternity. So I think that and it again goes back to the connected value, sorry, to the connected ecosystem of the values actually. So we will come back to square one again. And if we have actually been able to put ourselves, or we have actually knitted ourselves into very, very uh, high kind of value set, which is not only defined, which is not only introduced, but it is cherished, and its upholding is actually considered as a matter of honor, matter of respect, and matter of ultimate human superiority. Then I think that will be a level where we can jointly, stay a step ahead of the AI. And I am actually a very firm believer of this aspect because of one reason, and that is that a couple of weeks ago, I was reading that I think it is in Stanford, one of the labs in Stanford, where a robot has actually given very negative remarks to one of the students, 28, 9 years old, working in the lab, and he has labeled, the robot has labeled actually the endeavors of the student with the thought process that you are why are you not understanding this very simple concept? You are a curse on humanity, right? See,
Really?
yeah, exactly, yeah, exactly. And it was
No, I haven't heard about that thing, but that's interesting to know more about this incident,
yeah.
you know.
So, right. So you see, we I mean, human socialization and ability of human beings to socialize, you know and humanity ability of human beings to exercise their personal, physical, as well as psychological and spiritual powers. So it is the area which actually comes from socialization, which gets a lot of energy from socialization, right? So if we can uphold this specific area, I think that we can actually stay a step ahead from the developments of AI, and that will still be under our control and command.
Well, that's exactly is the I think the very important aspect to consider while um, enforcing the policies on AI development and AI adoption, that the human factor has to be superior, considering accepting the human superiority and considering the human aspect of it. But however, nonetheless, considering the time factor, well aware of the time, but just I would like our discussion to just like I wanted to bring another perspective, the last the interesting and dark side of that one, which I more interested to talk about, is the as because of the evolution of the military powers, they are you focusing on now highly skilled robots, machine guns, drones, and everything, where the upcoming or expected wars now in the future will be happening with no humans. So considering the human part of it now, which was one of the factor which used to be considered as a deterrent of the war as well, that how many soldiers gonna die now, since machines gonna be replacing humans or the soldiers, I think it's more evident that the whole world has been pushed into the unavoidable situations and conflicts, considering all that positive side is happening in the parallel. How do you see the whole landscape evolving in this perspective?
Yeah, yeah. Yet again, I mean, certainly, like the nuclear power acquisition, and the nuclear power related, philosophy that has just been interacted at various levels. This is certainly a possibility. And I mean, from the stealth technologies to fifth generation, from the fifth generation to fully automated, war zones, or from the fully automated war zones to the intelligent war or intelligent specific or intelligence centric warfare, for example, and also, backed up by the human factor as well. Sometimes mutually done within two opponents, only based on the technological advancements, and only based on the technological um, support factors or support functions. Yes, I mean, this is something, this is which carries a lot of risk, rather a very high risk for humanity altogether. And it is the dark side which can actually ruin the trust, which can ruin socialization, which can take all the development thought process towards the other side, and it can inflict a lot of economic as well as the trust deficit related loss provisioning to the entities or the parts involved. So yet again, I mean, the choice is on us, that why do we want to do it, and to what level do we want to carry it forward, and what is the mechanism, or what is the rule of the game, which is actually leading us to behold, or to exercise, or for example to use this only for the deterrence, or for that matter to maintain the soft power, for example. So this is upon us. So that is why that in very very recent months there is a lot of debate on the use of AI for political influences and for political power, as well as the use of AI for the foreign relations, and for country to country, as well as bloc to bloc interactions. So, yet again, the principles are very similar, and those are very simple as well. I mean, if we can uphold, integrity, if we can uphold mutual respect, if we can uphold equitable access and equitable utilization, if we can uphold to the principles of no harm to humanity, then I think, yes, there is certainly a way forward for all of us, where all of us can still live not only in our means, but using this AI to our advantages, no matter you are keeping the deterrence within your limits, no matter you want to actually build on to the technological power that you want to acquire, no matter you want to be seen as the political force or as the military force, right? I mean, certainly, yeah, so this power struggle, it is a never ending phenomena, and it will never end, certainly. Nobody is going to abandon the entire development programs around all these kind of warfares, for example, right? But what is the common survival ground that matters? What is it which will guarantee global peace, and what is it that will guarantee a global kind of development which is happening on a sustainable paths, and in a very very humane manner. So we have to choose between the two, and I think that the humanity must prevail, the humane thought process must supersede, and I mean, I think that's the only way forward for us.
Very beautiful. I mean, very rightfully said. And that's, I think, I wish that, the policymakers should, take your recommendation and advices very seriously, considering for the upcoming challenges. Because yes, we do agree that those countries, those nations who will not proactively invest in the AI adoption technologies and for education for the respective, the youth, which is for the next generations, to make them aware about such new technologies and the related risks. They have to pay the very heavy price in the coming upcoming years, as West has been seen, a clear segregation in the global South and global North, being that said, like, only the one side gonna get richer using the workforce of the global South, which is has to be considered from a humane perspective, as you rightly said. These kind of policies needs to be considered from a human, superiority, not only the technology aspect only. So, and of course, all legislations needs to be done very carefully, very responsibly, which based on respect, harmony, and the mutual benefits. If we don't consider or don't practice these values, I don't think it's gonna be a very the world is heading towards a very a fruitful or prospering future. So then that said, I mean, it's time for wrapping up our discussion, and I would like to thank you, Ghulam Shabbir Saab, for for sharing your knowledge and wisdom with us and your insights and your definitely. I wish that the policymakers should consider your advice and recommendations, considering while developing the policies and the legislating around the AI adoption, the in the future. So with that said, thank you so very much for our audiences as well, whoever is joined, and we will be keep bringing such interesting episodes in the future. With that said, thank you very much. Have a nice day ahead.
Thank you so much, Ahmed. I have really, really enjoyed this conversation. Thank you very much for putting in place very intelligent and very much required questions. I have really, really enjoyed. Thank you so very much.
Most welcome. Most welcome. Have a nice day.
Bye.
Bye.